It's Martin from the Meat Puppets, just recovering from that madness of a weekend with OpenAI Sam Altman. But anyway, this video is not about that. So I did a video a while back called How to Hack GPT-4 and Dall-E 3 using seeds to get consistent image generations. Now, 3 weeks is a long time in the world of ChatGPT. A weekend is a long time in the case of OpenAI. Now, there's a couple of you who've been in touch on the video, and I just mention Static 825. There'll be a link in the description. You can go and have a look. It was all about trying to create some consistent images inside of Dall-E, and we were using seeds. But Static 825 brought to my attention these things called Gen IDs. So we're going to have a little bit of a look at that today, and a couple of other things, because Dall-E's come on quite a bit in terms of generating consistent images. So we're just going to get into that. Okay, so this isn't Dall-E. I haven't been duping you. I am going to be talking about Dall-E in a second. But I just thought I'd show this. Some of you might be familiar with it. This is Automatic 1111, and it's what I've been using to run open source models on my PC. Now, open source models are generative AI models that you can download and just use on your own computer if you've got the right configuration. But that's a topic for another day. But you get all sorts of control inside Stable Diffusion to dictate how your image is going to look. And then you get all sorts of plugins to generate different images. It's still based around a prompt like you do in ChatGPT, but you have loads more options. What I've been thinking is that behind the scenes, Dall-E 3 must be doing something like this. And what's happening is when you type a prompt into ChatGPT, it's converting that into information that Dall-E will understand, and then digging through all these settings, trying to converting your text into what it thinks are the best settings to generate you the image. I'm going to try and use text and different prompting techniques to see if we can get this kind of control. And as I said before, we're going to just explore what these Gen IDs are that Static 825 has been talking about. Let's jump straight into that. Here we are, ChatGPT. Since last time we did a video with ChatGPT, you had to select which model you wanted, i.e. to use Dall-E 3. Now, everything looks different since, oh God, so much has happened in the past couple of weeks, but I'm just trying not to be distracted by that. So anyway, it might look different to how we had it before. Now, you don't have to pick the specific function you want to do. Whereas beforehand, you had to pick whether you want to analyze data or generate an image. You don't have to do that. And it will try and infer what it is that you're wanting to do. To speed things up a little bit this time, I've got a load of prompts prepared, which we may change along the way. So I'm just going to be cutting and pasting a lot of prompts in. Let's generate an image. We're just going to jump in here and we're going to type in, can you generate me a detailed photograph of Father Christmas as a zombie on a roof on Christmas Eve? Throughout the video, I'll cut the generation times, but they're not actually that long. They're about 10 seconds, but as we might be doing a lot of images, this can take a while. So bear in mind, if you are doing this yourself, you may need to wait 10, 20 seconds to get your image back. Caveat here, depending how OpenAI and ChatGPT are doing, they've been having a lot of outages at the moment. And again, a massive caveat, they seem to change the way the models work about every 5 minutes. So even I'm not sure on this tutorial whether it's going to work, but let's just give it a go. Generate. Okay, so it has generated me an image. There's zombies on the last video, and I thought it's getting close to Christmas. Bloody hell, it's getting close to Christmas. So I thought I'd have a go at doing that. So this is what we get. Not a bad image, really. Even the reindeers look a little bit evil. Now, just to try out what Static 825 has told me, we're just going to start asking ChatGPT a couple of questions about this image. So I'm going to come into here. Can you tell me the exact prompt and generation ID for this image? Let's give that a go. So here we go. Here's the detailed prompt as before. So I've just written a really simple prompt, but this is what it actually sent to Dall-E, which is a very detailed prompt. And it's given me a generation ID. Okay, so this is different from a seed. I'm just going to try and recreate this image by using the same methodology that we did last time. I'm just going to come in here and cut and paste this. That's the main prompt that it sent to Dall-E. And I'm just going to add to this. Please don't modify my prompt. This is the next bit. So last time round we put and use a particular seed number, but this time round we're going to put and use generation ID, and I'm just going to copy it from here. So there's the generation ID. Bang it in there. Done it twice. Didn't mean to. And let's hit go, see what happens. I am hoping that this is the same image that we had before. So let's just zoom in on that a little bit. Get that image into your brain. I'm going to scroll up. And I would say, yes, we have got the same image. Just have another look. So reindeer down at the bottom. There's up at the top. Zombie Santa, which I quite like. Reindeer, zombie Santa. It's slightly different. Hands slightly different. But to all intents and purposes, the same image. So that's great for creating consistent images. So it seems that with your prompt and with your generation ID, you can recreate an image. Now, I have tried this out a few times today, and some of the time, ChatGPT just started refusing to regenerate the same image. It was just saying, you've got that image already. Why do you want to generate it again? But we'll get into that in a minute. Now we're going to try the same approach as we did last time. I'm going to take this entire prompt here, and I'm going to paste it in the bottom. And we're just going to make some little changes. I'm just going to put Father Christmas as a dog rather than a zombie. In fact, a zombie dog. Let's have a zombie dog as a zombie dog. Just put one word in there. Okay, so I'm just going to hit generate and see what happens. Bear in mind, we have still got this same code in here. We've still got the same generation ID. So I'm expecting a very similar image to this one, but as a dog. Now that most definitely is not a zombie dog. So it's literally just done the same thing. Now I think this is because this generation ID here, I think is actually tied to the seed and the prompt and has more power in your prompting. So I think we'd literally just be able to put this generation ID in to recreate the image, because that definitely isn't a dog. So I'm just going to try another strategy here. I'm just going to go grab this generation ID from here, and I'm just going to pop it into the chat at the bottom here. So I'm going to go create an image using generation ID there, but make Santa a dog. Thinking behind this is that this is a chat bot. It's expecting normal chat, and then it's going to do the shenanigans in the background. So I'm going to give that a go. Let's see what happens. That's more like it. That's quite terrifying, actually. Love it, though. If I was going to draw a zombie dog, it'd be this. Okay, so we're just using normal language now, along with the generation ID. But I've got a feeling that we don't need the generation ID. I think within a chat, that ChatGPT is meant to remember everything you've talked about in a particular conversation, not in between chats, but in a particular conversation. I'm just going to try this now. Have the Santa dog jumping in the air. I haven't really given it the generation ID this time. I'm just asking for something. And it's because I think it'll know the generation ID, and then hopefully it'll generate a very similar image, but with Santa zombie dog jumping in the air. Let's give that a go. So that is actually really good. So if we just look through those collection of images. So this is our first image here, zombie Santa. And it's decided on the layout of the picture for itself. We've got these reindeer in the background, evil reindeer here, presents in a sleigh, these kind of cottage style things in the background. And as I've given it some iterations, it's not really changed much of the background as we go through. Still the same elements that are there, even though this has changed to a dog. The sleigh's slightly different, but the main sort of feel of the picture is quite consistent. So never mind the generation IDs, which I was having great success with. I really don't think you need to put them in. I think you can just start iterating pictures. And now this is where I've gone from jumping in the air. So it's understood jumping in the air, but it's also, can I zoom in on that? Let's just have a look. Yeah, it's jumping in the air. So the sleigh element is still there. It's got these weird bats in the sky, and I'm not sure what this is. I quite like it, but I don't know what it is. So I think I'm just going to see if I can prove this theory without using generation IDs. Let's just start a new chat. Okay, I'm going to try a new technique here as well. One thing you can do inside Stable Diffusion, which was that thing I was showing before, is you can upload an image with a pose, like maybe a person in a particular shape. You can look at that picture as part of your prompt. So I'm going to try that strategy on here from the beginning. All I did was, I did a quick image search for someone jumping in the air. I quite liked this one here. Downloaded it. And I'm just going to upload that to ChatGPT. Just going to hide this so you don't see everything that's on my drive. Okay, that's the image uploaded. So I'm just going to use a prompt. Something like, create an image of Santa as a zombie jumping in the air above houses on Christmas Eve. Use the attached image for a pose. I'm not expecting it to get it exactly, but let's give it a go. I should probably be worrying about copyright at this moment because obviously I don't own that image. I'm just using it to inform a shape, so I don't think I'm actually breaking any copyright. If I am, I'm really sorry. Okay, here it comes. Oh, interesting. Interesting. It's never done that before. It's done it as a landscape image, but on the side it's a portrait. So it's landscape layout, but it's portrait. What I'm going to do quickly is I'll do this and then come back. I'm just going to try and just do that whole process again and see if we get a better result. Okay, so I've done that again. So the prompt that I use, create a landscape image of Santa as a zombie jumping in the air above houses on Christmas Eve. Use the attached image, which was this one, for a pose. So he's got his arms out, head to one side, feet up. And it looks like he's kneeling there. So yeah, I think this might still work. I'm going to start trying to iterate because this is the problem that people have had in the past is generating AI images is so random. You want to try and get some consistency to it. So that's what our plan is here. And we're not going to use the generations this time. We're going to see what we can do. Okay, so we are going to do what we did last time and just ask it our question. Can you give me the exact prompt and any other metadata you used to create this image just to see if that's still working? Okay, so it's given us all the data here. So we have got this longer prompt that we're used to. The bit I'm really interested to see is mirroring the energetic pose from the reference photo. So it is doing that and looking at the reference photo. And it gives us the generation ID and it gives us the seed. Seed, if you watch the last video, link in the description, you'll see how we were using the seed. I don't think that works anymore. And the generation ID we've talked about. Anyway, I don't think we need this generation ID now. And I don't think we need to keep on putting the prompt in. I think we just need to talk to ChatGPT as though there was a graphic artist working in front of us and we want to try out some ideas. So I'm going to try this approach. I'm just going to go, can you make the Santa character a dog? So let's just see what happens there. So what I'm expecting here is that it's going to take this style of image, this kind of layout, these kind of houses, presents, etc., and hopefully turn this into a dog. Oh, I meant zombie dog. Okay, we're going to do dog. Let's see what happens. It's obviously taken the zombie part of the image and turned the zombie into a dog. I'm just looking at the feet are different, the hands are different. Let's just take a closer look. I'm going to ask it to make it more dog-like. Can you make him more dog-like? Let's just see if that works. Maybe my theory is wrong. Okay, not quite what I was after. Not quite what I was after at all. Okay, can you go for a zombie dog style? Make it frightening. Okay, let's see what that does. So I do note we still have got the same kind of layout. It's jumping in the air. The main character's the same. Just because I changed it to a dog. It is a zombie dog. You can see the eyes are a bit crazy. But the feeling is very different from this one. So I'm hoping that now we've said zombie again, we'll get back to this kind of feeling. Come on. Create your image. Let's have a closer look. That is hilarious. So it's got rid of the zombie because I've said more dog-like. So it has done what I've asked. But I was much preferring the old images. So let's see if we get somewhere back there. Wow. Yeah, so that has definitely brought us back into this kind of style. And if you ever wanted a zombie dog, I'd say that's a zombie dog. Terrifying. Brilliant. So we're going to carry on our iteration process. Okay, it's not feeling Christmassy enough for me. Not that a zombie dog is very Christmassy, but I want some bigger Christmas trees. So can you add some bigger Christmas trees? Okay, let's hit generate, see what it does. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it has completely changed our image, which I'm quite disappointed at. I was having much better results earlier on. It still feels the same. The dog has changed massively, but maybe it's just in a different style. Okay, but let's carry on. Let's carry on, because I've still definitely got a zombie dog. And I've still definitely got big Christmas trees, and maybe it thought this was a better layout. But let's try some smaller iterations, shall we? It looks a bit lonely, that street. Let's add some cars. Let's do that. Let's add some cars to the scene. Let's see what happens. Now, this is like using a process like you would do in like using generative fill inside Adobe. I believe this is called in-painting. So we're adding stuff to the image, and I'm trying to see if we can do that within ChatGPT, which would be cool just through natural language. Because it means you don't need to use Adobe, don't need to be familiar with Photoshop. You can just use natural language. So that's really what we're trying to do with ChatGPT. Okay, so we've got a very different dog this time, not quite as zombie-like. But we've got the cars. Let's carry on iterating. This isn't exactly what I wanted. I was getting much better than this afternoon. I'm a bit disappointed with the way that's come out. This zombie dog's not as ace as our last zombie dog or the results I was getting this afternoon. But let's see if we can pull it back from the brink. Let's just try again. I'm going to add some carol singers, make it a bit more Christmassy, but make the dog Santa more zombie-like and frightening. And I'm hoping that'll pull us more back towards this kind of style. Let's just do that. I love what it's done. So we have got a much more frightening zombie dog, but now we've got these fantastic carol singers. The pose has always stayed the same or very similar. My Santa's in a decent place. We've just been adding to and changing the environment around it, which I think is pretty cool. I know it sounds stupid. I'm going to try and do something really specific now. I'm going to see if I can just add a motorbike. Bear in mind, we still do have our cars that we asked for before. We've got our big Christmas trees. So I'm going to try and add in motorbike just for the sake of it. Let's see what it does with that. And let's see if it retains carol singers and the cars, because these are the elements we've asked for. And again, we're just iterating, just seeing if we can add to stuff. Having spent years doing client work, this isn't quite pixel to the left stuff, but it's certainly a lot of fun. Let's see what happens. Okay. Brilliant. It has changed the composition a little bit, but we've still got these houses. It's probably changed the composition to accommodate this motorbike. Now, I didn't specify whether I wanted it in the foreground or the background or even what kind of motorbike that I was after. Personalised reg, quite like that. And it's a V car, which is maybe a Volkswagen. One thing I have noticed is increasingly with updates is that a Dall-E or any other model, apart from if you're using Stable Diffusion, you'll have a lot of trouble generating any copyrighted imagery. So if you're trying to create a specific image from a film or something like that, it is quite difficult, but you can say in the style of. So now I'm just going to have a look at changing the environment. So this looks like a little quaint British village. So I'm going to try and say, can you set this? Can you show me this in New York? Let's try New York. Let's go stateside. See what happens. Now, this is cool. I don't know if it's angrier because it's in New York, and we have started to get these sort of demonic things in the background. But if you look consistency-wise, we've still got carol singers. We've still got big Christmas trees. I think maybe because we're in New York, we've got loads of people. We've got the presents. We've still got the cars, but notice they're now American cars. And we've got a motorbike, but it's a more American motorbike. It is really helping as we change these things. I'm just going to try going, okay, can we try it in London? I've been told you're meant to be direct with ChatGPT, so I'm going to put now show it me in London. I was tempted to write please then, but apparently the word is never be polite with an LLM. Tell it what you want. Feels a bit rude, really, doesn't it? Cool. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely picked out a London bus. It's not quite the right configuration. I'm not sure what it's advertising on the side or what it says, but we have got our consistency. What we've specified was the Christmas trees, the carol singers, the motorbike, which is back to a British bike, notice, with a weird little skull thing on it, which I quite like. We've got the presents, there's cars in the background, and the Big Ben Tower in the back. And I love the way it's framed it with this tree. And we obviously still got our jumping zombie Santa dog. This is aces. Okay, so we can change location. We proved that. What about changing time of day? Okay, I'm going to try this next one going, all right, can you show me this in the daytime, I think is what I'm going to try. See what that scene looks like in the day. And I'd be interested to see if it tries to make the scene feel better in the daytime. Maybe not as scary. This might be disappointing. Let's have a look. Now, because I haven't asked it to change anything else, I'm still hoping to see a motorbike, carol singers, cars, presents, and big Christmas trees. Oh, and of course, the zombie dog. Okay. We've got more buses. We've still got cars. We've got that motorbike nice and prominent. We've got the big Christmas trees. We've got the carol singers. We've still got the Big Ben Tower, these weird bat things. But now in the day, and weirdly, I surreally like that picture. Okay, we're going to change location again. I'm just going to try giving it an aesthetic now. I don't know if, like me, you like Blade Runner. I'm going to try in a world of Blade Runner. Now, I'm sure if I said, if you made this in an exact scene from Blade Runner, it'll say no. It might not even let me do this, but I'm just going to try with the prompt. Now in a world reminiscent of Blade Runner. So I haven't said the same, just said reminiscent. Let's give that a go. I do love this image. Very funny. Awesome. I don't know if you've seen Blade Runner, but hallmarks of Blade Runner are the flying drones, the neon signs, which I know the text doesn't make any sense, but I like that in a futuristic way. We've got our dog there. We've got our carol singers still. I imagine it's replaced these for cars because we've now got floating cars. I am missing my Christmas trees, but maybe that's not a thing in a futuristic city. But we do have all our carol singers and the presents are still there. So I do really like this. Let's just have a quick look through where we started. So I'm just going to roll back right to the beginning where we started. So this is what we started with, our zombie human. And then we started changing into a zombie dog. But then as we iterated, this is where we asked for Christmas trees. Then we added cars. Then we added carol singers. And I say from this point onwards, I think we've got a load of consistency. Still this jump pose with the dog. Is that where we added the motorbike? Yeah. And then we jumped to New York. Then we jumped to London. Then we went to daytime. Then we went to a Blade Runner world. All working really well. I was going to try one other film just for the sake of it. I'm going to go, now imagine it's outside the building from Die Hard. Just, why not? Let's see how far we can go with this copyright thing. Might tell me to go away here. Now, the dog has changed to something a little bit more Gremlins. But if you look, motorbike's back. Cars are there. American cars. We've got our carol singers. And we've got the Nakatomi Plaza. Now, it looks nothing like the Nakatomi Plaza out of Die Hard. But it's definitely taking my direction to do that. I'm going to go back to, let's go back to Britain. Let's go back to where I'm from. And let's go back to nighttime because zombies and daytime don't go very well together. Let's just try now. Now try outside a country farm in the UK at night, snowing. Please make the zombie dog closer to camera and more frightening. Okay, let's see what this does. I'm hoping that we'll still have the carol singers, we'll still have the motorbike, we'll still have the trees. I'm hoping that the Nakatomi Plaza will be gone. Let's just try. It's definitely done what I've asked there. Let's just have a closer look at it. Love it. Now we've lost the jump in the air. Now that's probably because I gave it some more direction for the dog. And it figured if it was this close up, it wouldn't really look. That's definitely a British farm. So I'm going to try one more final prompt and see if we can end up with a final image. I'm going to ask it to add a sleigh and reindeers in the sky because everybody needs that. But can we go back to the dog jumping and looking more like a zombie? I do have to note, actually, I've just noticed we've lost the carol singers. Maybe we've lost the carol singers and the cars. I think that's because I've changed the scene by giving it some new direction about the dog. And I think the same will happen here, but let's have a look. Here we go. Now, that is an awesome image, but it hasn't got the dog jumping. So I think that image that I used a lot earlier on really helped the pose for our evil dog. So I'm just going to try now to bring that photo back. I'll just hide this again so you don't see everything that's on my hard drive. You'll see it here. You'll see it here. Brought this back in. And let's just put a prompt in. Can the zombie dog match the pose in the image attached? I wanted to write please then, but they tell you not to write please. What I'm hoping for is this will be a quite similar image to this. Oh, the trees are back. Sleighs in the sky. But I'm hoping it's going to match this image, but with the zombie dog jumping in this kind of pose. So let's just have a look. I hope so. Let's see. Let's see what's happened. Now, again, it's gone straight to portrait, and I think because I didn't ask for it in widescreen, but it's done portrait the right way up this time. But if you look, the pose is definitely working. So it's definitely being inspired by that pose. What's happening is GPT Vision will be looking at this image, describing it, then adding it into the prompt. But that is an awesome picture. I'm going to just ask for it widescreen now and see what happens. Now, as predicted, landscape aspect ratio has changed the layout. I love what it's done with the reindeers, and I suppose in terms of images, it feels more pleasing, but feels very bizarre. There's another zombie dog we've got in here now. Not as consistent as I'd be able to get with, obviously, automatic 1111. Not as consistent as we were getting with using exact prompts and seeds. But considering where we started, which is here, through to where we've ended, which is here, it has a very similar feel and aesthetic. So I'm just going to do one last thing now, just to try once and for all. I'm going to ask it about the prompt with the metadata and see if I can generate this image again using the generation ID. So here we go. Okay, the prompt used to generate this was this long thing. Yep. Look at that. Okay, so it's giving me generation ID and the seed. I'm going to just try our old method. I'm going to use our old thing. Do not change my prompt. I can just cut and paste this. Oh, hit return. Idiots. We'll wait for it to generate anyway. I meant the following. So I'm just going to get the generation ID. This is what I actually meant before I hit return. The generation ID and the seed. I'm going to pull the seed in from here and see if we get exactly the same image. Now, I've tried this a few times over the past few days, and it's not worked, whereas it did 2 weeks ago. So let's give it a go. Depends how it's feeling. So it's having a go at creating an image. We shall see. Oh, yeah, so it hasn't done it. So this doesn't really work anymore. It was intermittent for a while, but I'm pretty certain they've updated the model. The image is great. I do love it. Still got the zombie dog, still got my reindeers. Now, I did try this earlier on today, and I just want to show you what I got from that because I think it's far more consistent than these. So let me just bring this in. So this is my chat from earlier on today. And so there we go. I've uploaded that same image. There's me Santa that I generated. And then I spent ages trying to do the old generation ID and the seed, which was not having any of it. So this is where I was just starting to natural language. So now I've used it to create that generation ID, but make it an image of a dog, which it's done there. Then I've turned it into a dog zombie. You can see some consistency there. And then I've carried on iterating. This is where I added in Christmas trees. Then I tried to make the moon red and included some cars. And as we did before, we've got the carol singers and the motorbike. And then tried in the daytime, tried in London at night. Then we tried in Manchester. I'm not sure people know what Manchester looks like, but this isn't bad at all. I used to live on a street just like this. Still got the cars, still got the motorbike. Then I tried in New York. Again, it changed the cars. There's a sleigh, there's these. And then I tried Blade Runner, Nakatomi Plaza. And I finally ended up on a farm. I got much more consistency with these. And I think it's depending how Dall-E's feeling. And I also think it's about how far you go down. I imagine you get halfway down and it's run out of memory. Anyway, I'm going to continue playing with GPT-4. Thanks very much to Static825 for pointing me in this direction. You can go back, have a look through the other ones. Please do let us know in the comments what you think. I've got a feeling this video's been far too long and everyone's a little bit open AI'd out after the madness of this weekend, although you could be watching this in 3 weeks. Who knows what will have happened? But I think Dall-E is incredibly powerful, and I think there's something to be said for spending some time understanding what language to use. And I think as it gets better and as it starts to understand language better and intention, it'll be a lot easier to direct these images. Anyway, let us know in the comments, subscribe, or whatever else you meant to say. Thanks for having a watch. Cheers.